Okay, we're up to Kuf Chav Ches. We're in the middle. It's of a bunch of Shol Chulei Rav Abel Rav Yosef Bar Chama, a bunch of 7 cases of decisions, halachic decisions that were sent by Rav Abba to Rav Yosef Bar Chama. Hamoitzi shtar chayv al chaveroi. A person brings a shtar chayv, it produces a shtar chayv that you owe me $100. Malva oimel loy nifrati. Right, the Malva says I wasn't paid. I'm owed 100. Klum. V'loiva amar parati mechza. I paid what? 50. So this is a classic moda b'mikzas ataina, which is a shvur deraisa. He would swear that what? That he only owes 50, pay the 50, and he's off the hook for the other 50. However, after he said this, v'eidim eidim sheparakula. Eidim testified that what? That in fact he paid the whole thing. Talk about a shlamazel, right? He says that what? I paid 50. Eidim come and say, well, no, actually, you paid up the whole thing. Now, what's the halacha? Harizen nishba, he swears, the goyva mechza, and the malva collects, minachasim b'nei chayrin, collects 50. However, he only collects from unencumbered properties. Avol mishabudim loy. But anything that there was a lien on, they're not. You can't. If any land was purchased from this loiva, the malva can't collect it. The amri, because the ones who bought the land can claim ana edim samchinan. We were slemich on edim when we bought the land that in fact there was no halva and there was no lien. So all you can collect from is the 50. You can collect what from your. You can collect. Now what is this svara over here? So if you look at Rashbam, the lines get wide about 7 lines down. The Edom come after he was Moida. Nishpa haloiva shepara. The loiva swears that he paid up half. The yiftim l'shalim mechza. U'mechza yishalim, the other half he pays. Like a regular Moida b'mikzas. L'fisha kfar hoidu, because he admitted. And hoidas baldin shava yosem eredas Edom. And his haidah that he still owes half is worth more than the Edom that said he owes nothing. He'll only collect from the unencumbered properties. The purchasers of those properties from the loiva can claim asanu kanunya avidasai. Right? You're making a kanunya between you. You're saying that you didn't really collect, and you want to collect from me. I'm not a Edom Samchinan. We're Slemech on the Edom, the Misade de Parakol, and therefore we bought the property thinking that what? There was no lien on the property whatsoever. Okay? So this is the statement of what Rav Abba said to Rabbi Yosef. In other words, we won't view the Edom guys will only impact the Lekuchos. They won't impact the Moedim Mikzas. Since the Edom came after he was Moedim Mikzas, it'll remain a Moedim Mikzas. What impact on this shaila did the Edom have? Vis-a-vis the Lekuchos, if the Edom didn't come, then the Lekuchos, then the Malvo could collect from the Lekuchos, because there's no taina, I'm slemich on Edom that there was no loan. But the Edom impacted that what? That the Lekuchos can taina, that guess what? We thought there was no loan, and therefore we bought the land. That's, okay, now, there's a Gemara in the beginning of Shnai Meichsen. A person produces a shtar. The shtar says, you owe me sloyim. You owe me sloyim. What's the minimal amount of sloyim? It's 2. It's plural, 2. It doesn't say 2 sloyim, 3 sloyim, 4 sloyim. Just sloyim is mashma 2. The malva claims 5. The loiva claims 3. Does he swear a shvua moedim mikzas or not? Machloikis. Says Rabbi Akiva. He's Meshav Aveda. He could have got off with 2. Since it just says sloyim, stam, and it doesn't say anything more, you're claiming 5. By me saying 3, I'm being Meshav Aveda. I'm returning something that I didn't have to. Whereas Rav Shimon, he says no. He says that what? You still have to swear. So that's the case in the beginning what of Baba Metzia. So now, this has a similarity to that case. In which way? He's saying half, and Edom saying nothing. So he's a shtickle Meshav Aveda, correct? In other words, he could have got off with nothing, because Adam said you owe nothing, but he said 50. So maybe we'll view that as Meshav Aveda and he doesn't swear, but obviously we're viewing it that he does swear. So it seems to be in line with Rav Shimon rather than Rabbi Akiva. Good? Like Rabbi Akiva, I'm paying something I didn't have to pay. Just like over there, the case of Sloyim, which is Mashma 2, when you said 3, it's Meshav Aveda. Over here, when you said 50 in my scenario, and they said you owe nothing, you can view it as Meshav Aveda. So it says the Gemara Vaita. Vafil Rabbi Akiva, and even Rabbi Akiva, who's of the opinion, the Amar Meshav Aveda have, in the case of Bab Mitzia, which I just shared with you, that it's Meshav Aveda, Hani Mili Hechad Leka Edom. When's it Meshav Aveda? When there's no Edom whatsoever. There's just the star and you, and the whole Chiyav is the star. Aval Hechad Leka Edom, when there's Edom, Irsusei Irsas, then he's scared. In other words, this loiva does not know what these Edom are going to say. So there's a svara to say, you know why I said 50? Because I have no idea what they're going to say. It's kind of a counterintuitive, but that's the claim. In other words, even Rabbi Akiva would be moided to the Sholchim Itam over here of Rav Abba to Rav Yosef Bar Chama, he would be moida that you swear. Because the case of Baba Metzia in the beginning of Shnaim Eichsen, right at the beginning of the Masechta, there is no Eidim. And therefore it's Meshav Aveda. Once Eidim enter the Parsha, then this guy is scared. So whatever he says is compromised. And we don't say it's Meshav Aveda. Rabbi Akiva would agree that he has to swear Moedim Miktsas. Got it? Now, Maskif Law, Mar Baravashi, Adarabba. I'll go the other way. I feel Rav Shimon ben Elazar, even Rav Shimon ben Elazar, the Amar Moedim Miktsas Ataina Have, he holds guys, again, as I just told you in the beginning of the Masechta B'Metzia, that it's Moedim Miktsas. Because he said 5 and he said 3. The star said Sloyim, he holds it wasn't Meshav Aveda. Hani Mile Hechad Leka Edom. That's where there's no Edom. The Komisayale. You don't have Edom that are supporting your claim. Aval Hechad Leka Edom Komisayale. Here the Edom are not only helping him, they're saying one more. You're saying 50, they're saying nothing. In other words, vis-a-vis the claim, guys, vis-a-vis the claim of the Malva that it's 100, right? The Edom are supporting you. You say 50, they say nothing. So here, maybe Reb Shimon Elazar would admit it is Meshav Aveda, and you wouldn't swear. Vadai Meshav Aveda have. Vadai is Meshav Aveda. Okay, so what we did was we had the case of what was sent again among the 7 cases of Rav Abba sending to Rav Yosef Bar Chama. We just said a case of Moedim and Miktsas that's supported by Edom saying yo nothing. Says what's the halacha? It still says Moedim and Miktsas. Going ahead, taking it and comparing it to the Mishnah, the Machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, vis-a-vis Stamas Star that says Sloyim. Rabbi Akiva says he says 3. He's being Meshav Aveda. He doesn't swear. Says of Shimon ben Elazar he's still Moedim and Miktsas. Each one of those can say over here the din would be different. Rabbi Akiva could agree with the din over here. It's not Meshav Aveda. He could have got off with nothing. Maybe the reason why it's not Meshav Aveda because he doesn't know what the Edom are going to say. He didn't know the Edom are going to support him. He didn't know what they're going to say. Right? And even Rabbi Shimon Elazar, who says over there it's Moedim and Miktsas, that's because there's no Edom. But over here there's Edom. Then maybe over here what? Which would make sense. Edom are supporting his Taina. Maybe it is Meshav Aveda. And it's not Moedim and Miktsas. That's all we said. Okay? So now we have all the cases. Now, all the cases. Now, going back over all the cases, I don't remember off the top of my head. The one we have to remember is, would you be able to collect, would a malva be able to collect from a avodim? If you hold avodim karka, then pashtus you would say that there's a lien on the evet. So the lashon was, if you look in Kuf Ches Amid Aleph, about 7 lines down, there's 2 dots. Shalach le Rav Abba le Rav Yosef Bar Chama, halacha goyvim min avodim. The halacha is the malva can collect for avodim because it's like karka. I about goydrois, we said the shaila. Also, it's speaking that it was here for 3 years. We're speaking about a baby evet. Rav Nachman Amar, ein goyvin, you don't collect. In Goivin, you don't collect. Why? Because when do we say that an evidence kikarka? That's the kinyonim, kesev, shtar chazaka. But when we'll say vis-a-vis collection, we'll say that it's what? It's kimilva. Good. Now, back by us. Says the Gemara. Dorish mazuch mishmei Rav Simi Barashi, hilchasa b'chol hani shmaitza, the halacha in this whole sugya, kiddush Rav Abba Rav Yosef Bar Chama. Like Rav Abba sent to Rav Yosef. In other words, all 7 cases are what? The halacha is like he sent back. Amalei Ravina Rav Ashi, the Rav Nachman Mai. Now, we know the halacha is like Rav Nachman and Dinei Mamonis, guys. Rav Nachman is him and Shmuel with a big bakim and Dinei Mamonis. Now, the case we just said, Rav Nachman said, you don't collect. Rav Abba said, you do collect. So you're telling me that halacha is like Rav Abba, even keneged what? Rav Nachman? So the Gemara says, no, we're going to change the girsa. We're going to change the girsa. Amalei Ravina Rav Ashi Rav Nachman Mai. Amalei Ein Goivin Masnisan La. Don't learn Goivin. Learn Ein Goivin. B'chinam Rav Nachman. Okay, so guys, take a look back at we're going to change the gears. Look back at the Yamid Aleph. Shalach Rav Abba Rav Yosef Bar Chama Halacha Ein Goivin Min Ha'avadim. You don't collect from Avadim. V'chein Amar Rav Nachman, and so too Rav Nachman says. So now the halacha is like all of them. That little change. The halacha is like all of them. Okay, now, Fredig Marakasha back by us. If the halacha, when you have to say the halacha, what does it come to exclude? When you're telling me the halacha is in conjunction with Rav Abba throughout the Masechta, throughout the 7 cases, what is it coming to Mamayat? What would you have thought in those 7 cases that you had to say the halacha is like them, that you think the halacha is not like them? Guys, in other words, to tell me that you argued Rav Nachman already is a chiddush. So once you told me that he's in line with Rav Nachman, the other 7 cases, which of the 7 cases would you have thought otherwise that it was necessary mazutra to tell me the halacha is like Rav Abba, that he sent to Rav Yosef Bar Chama? Guys, that's what the Gemara says. Ila fuke midarava, if it's coming to exclude Rava. Okay, guys, this was the case of 3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Level 1 is Reuven and Shimon. Level 2 was Chanoch and Yemiel, and level 3 was Benji. So he said that what? 3 can testify for 2. 3 can testify for 2. Rava wanted to say 3 can testify for 1. So maybe you're telling me that the halacha is only 3 to 2 and not 3 to 1. So you want to, Masucha felt the halacha is like Rav Abba, lafuke the 3 to 1 of Rava. He lafuke with the Rava, Maisivhu. He's not arguing. Rav is not arguing. He's coming to add onto the words of Rav Abba. You, Rav Abba, say 3, 2, 3. In addition, I'm saying 3, 1, but they're not arguing. If I'm right about Mabar Ravashi, who we just saw, who was Machsha, or the case of Mabar Rashi. Mabar Rashi said that the son, the Benji, can testify on Ruvain. The 3-1 is not only his great uncle, but even his grandfather. Guys, 3 to 1 was level 3 was Ben, the son of Chanoich, the son of Ruvain. So Rava said he can go ahead and testify as great uncle. Rav Ravashi said he can testify even against his grandfather. So if you want to say, we already said less hilchas Ravashi. It's said the halacha is not like Ravashi. The halacha is not like Ravashi, right? So Mama Ravashi. So once it's said the halacha is not like Mama Ravashi, I wouldn't need Mazutra to tell me the halacha is like Rav Abba. Memela, if the halacha is not like Mama Ravashi, the halacha is like what? Like Rav Abba, right? Once you wanted to suggest this and you said the halacha is not like that, Memela, the halacha is like what? Rav Abba. So what's Mazutra telling me? This was the case where a guy lost his eyesight, guys. He lost his eyesight, and Shmuel said he could testify on the land based upon the boundaries, but not the shirt. Rav Sheish said he can testify upon the measurements of the shirt, but not on an ingat, a nascha. Rav Papa said even on a nascha because of the weight. So if you're going to tell me, those were all slugged up already. Says Gemara, those were slugged up already. In other words, it had to be Mazutra was saying the halacha is like Rav Abba. It must be that you would have thought other places, not like that. It can't be Rava, it can't be Ma'abar Rav Ashi, and it can't be Rav Shmuel, Rav Sheshes, and Rav Papa. Elo lafuki mid Rabbi Yochanan. It comes to exclude the case of what? Of Rabbi Yochanan, right? Ume'atak for the Ma'abar Rav Ashi, right? The case of Rabbi Yochanan, he says that a tinoik bein abonim is not believed, right? He's not believed. We said, but he's not believed to say that what? That he's the Bechar. But the Cholak al Rav Abed who said that what? That he's Neman. He said he's Neman. And Rav Ashi, Hiksha, and Rav Abba. Let's see the Rashbam. Umedat takfa the Ma'abar Rav Ashi the Aslan name of Vadai Meshav Avedahu. The less Hilchas Kavase. Kivin the Akati. Okay, so now we pass in the halacha that like Rabbi Yehuda said that Yaki ben alacherim. So if a man says on a son, we're muchzit that one son's a bechar, and man says this one's a bechar, you believed. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan said you're not believed. So Rav Mazutra said the halacha is like Rav Abba lafuke Rabbi Yochanan. That's lafuke, and in addition, the question of Ma'abar Rav Ashi. The Rashbam said, what was the question? The Asal name of Vadai Meshav Avedahu, who said it's a case of Meshav Aveda because they're Eidim. Since we testified there was no Eidim, in other words, Ma'abar Rav Ashi wanted a taina when there's Eidim over here, Vadai it's Meshav Aveda, not like Rav Abba. And the answer is, like Rav Abba, he didn't know the Eidim were going to come. How can you say they're scared? The Eidim like the key is the Eidim testified after him. So if the Eidim testified after him, so therefore it's not Meshav Aveda, and therefore it's Moedim Mikzas. So Lafuke, the Kasha Rav Ashi, who wanted to say since there's Eidim, it's not Moedim Mikzas, it's Meshav Aveda, says Rav Abba, no, it's not Meshav Aveda, because the Eidim didn't come yet. Why you wanted to say the case before, the case Bein Abonim, that if husbands believe, the Rabbi Yochanan says you're not believed. Passing like Rav Abba, but Master Zutra is telling me passing like Rav Abba, not like Rabbi Yochanan. So those are the two cases that you needed my Zutra's sack for. One connected Rabbi Yochanan, who says he's not Neman, to say that this is my son, my Bechar, and one to go ahead and say that what? That it's not Moedim Mixas because they're Eidim, since when he was Moedim on the Mixas, there was not Eidim yet. Okay. Hamachalik Mechasav al Piv. So the Mishnah said you have to write it between the beginning and the end. So in other words, if you go ahead and say by Yerusha, you want to go ahead and say this person's Yairish, this one's not Yairish, right? We said it's Masna Mashakasa B'Torah. Once you're dealing with the Lashon Yerusha, it's Masna Mashakasa B'Torah. However, if you add the Lashon of Matana, since the Matana works, the Yerusha also works, and then it's not Masna Mashakasa B'Torah. So again, the key to the Sugya fellas, once you use the Lashon of Matana, the Lashon of Matana will be poiled to the extent that we won't say it's Meshav Aveda. We won't say it's Meshav Aveda. Excuse me, no. We won't say that. I'm sorry. It's poiled to the extent we won't say it's Masna Mashakasa B'Torah. Good? Guys, you're good. So now, the Mishnah said, whether you say it in the beginning, the middle, or the end, the Lashon of Matana. Let's give the examples. Let's give the examples. Says the Gemara. Hechidami matana betchila, hechidami beemsa, hechidami besoif. Kiyas Rav Dimi, Amar Rav Yochanan. Rav Dimi came, he said, name Rav Yochanan. Tinasein sada ploinus leploini. This is the lashon of matana tinasein. V'yer shazu, and he should inherit it. That he matana betchila, because you used the lashon tinasein initially. Yersha, he should inherit betinasein loy. Sui matana besoif. You use the lashon of not matana in the end. Yersha v'tinasein loy v'yersha. You said first the lashon yersha, then you said the lashon matana, and then you said the lashon yersha. Sui matana b'emsa. That's the matana b'emsa. So again, as long as you use the lashon of matana for a person, even if you use the lashon of yerusha, it won't be masnal mashakasa b'Torah. Now the Gemara is going to bring in a bunch of cases which are very, very, very hard to remember. So here you go. We want to suggest this din of Lashon Matana and Lashon Yerusha is only it's one person in one field. Then we'll say that koina, he's koina. However, if it's two fields in one person or two people in one field, then you won't be koina. Because we won't say the lashon of matan is going on either the other person or the other field. Again, when do we say the lashon of matana helps? But there's no shaila. They use the lashon of matana Yerusha on one field. However, if it's one person in two fields or two people in one field, can you see this? Or it's not very unclear. You can see it. Good. And certainly two people in two fields where you could say the Yerusha is going on one and the matana is not on the other, you're not kaina. That's what Rav Dimi brought in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. We're going to see this. The rest of this Amud, guys, is going to be three shitas. Okay, I'll give you the shitas beforehand. The first shita is 1-1 Yekaina. Everyone holds 1-1 Yekaina. There's no shaila about that. Everyone holds 1-1 Yekaina. What about 1-2-2-1? He says Yekaina. He says you're not, but he admits by 2-2 you're not. Then we have a third shita across the board Yekaina each one. Okay. Now here's some of the issues. Here it's Rav Dimi in the name Rabbi Yochanan. Here it's Ravin in the name Rabbi Yochanan. So you have a stira in Rabbi Yochanan vis-a-vis these dinim. This din, this din, this din, this din. Good? Like kind of. Good? Okay, let's leave this open as we read along. So now, says the Gemara. V'dafka ba'adam echad, dafka by one person, dafka ba'adam echad, v'sada achas, 1 and 1. Then, because we could say the lashon of matana goes on the same thing as the lashon of Yerusha. Aval ba'adam echad v'shtei sadais, or sada achas v'shnei b'nei adam, loy, then not. Rav Elazar of the opinion, afilu adam echad v'shtei sadais, right? Afilu adam echad, afilu adam echad, and two fields, or sada achas v'shnei b'nei adam, aval b'shtei sada shtei b'nei adam loy. Okay, so you see, good. First lashon, kana, loy. Now Rebbe Elazar, kana 1-1, 1-2-2-1 kana, but 2-2 not kana. Kiyasa Ravin, when Ravin came, this is Ravin, Ruthie, 5 minutes. Kiyasa Ravin, when Ravin came, Amar tinasin sada ploinis leploini, v'yirish ploini sada ploinis. This field should be given to ploinis. This field ploinis should be given to so and so, and this field ploinis should be yirish. So two people in two fields. Rabbi Yochanan makana, Rebbe Elazar aimer loikana. So again, this is the final thing. When Ravin came up, he said Rebbe Elazar says loikana, but he says kaina. Guys, you see that you all set up now. Now you're set up for the Gemara. Amli Abaye LeRavin, says Abaye to Ravin, Anachdalon chada. I'll make it easy for you for one, but takful chada, and I'll make it hard for you. I'll ask you on another one. Bishleim with Rebbe Elazar, one place he says kaina, one place he says not kaina, like Hasha. Where does he say kaina? He says what? Like Hasha kan ba'adam echad shtei sadais. It's speaking, guys, this case. Look at the marker. It's speaking the middle case. Then the kaina, because it's 1-2-2-1. Kan, and when Rav Dimi said you're not kaina, is b'shnei b'nei adam over here. It's speaking about two people, right? That's when you're not kaina. Right? Shtei adam shtei sadais. El Rabbi Yochanan kasha. You have a kasha, guys. Rabbi Yochanan says this then. Rabbi Yochanan says this then. Clearly, they don't shtim. Here they disagree, and here they disagree. They disagree by 1-2-2-1, and they disagree by 2-2. Right? Look, you see that? They disagree. How are you going to answer up Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan? On that, the Gemara answers, Amaroy ninu v'aliv Rabbi Yochanan. The two Amaroyim will go according to Rabbi Yochanan. In other words, we have two different opinions. This is Rav Dimi's opinion, and this is Ravin's opinion, what Rabbi Yochanan said. Again, they came from Babel. Very often the Gemara discusses these people coming from Babel, Eretz Yisrael to Babel, and they had different ideas. Okay? So you have to say it's two Amoraim according to Rabbi Yochanan. Now, Reish Lakish says maybe another shita. So when do we say La'olam loikana 2-2? When do we say 2-2 is not kaina? at Sheyomer until he says following. He says, Ploini uploini yershu sada ploinis. So and so will inherit field A, uploinis and field B. So you have two people inheriting two fields. Shenasatim lahem bimatana v'yirshon. So he has this funny lashon that he says in the beginning he says Yairish, and in the end he says Yairish. In the middle he says nasatim lashon matana, and just like the double Yerusha is going on both fields, so too the one lashon of matana is going on both fields. In that case, we'll say that the 2-2 works. Okay, and now we're going to suggest this machloikis that we had between Rav Ravin and Rav Dimi and Rav Elazar is the machloikis Rav Hamnuna, Rav Nachman, and Rav Sheshes. Beplukta, and this machloikis we just said is machloikis beplukta. Rav Hamnuna, loy shanu ela adam echad v'sada achas, 1-to-1. When do you say that? What Yerusha Matana helps the double lashon? That's 1-to-1. Aval adam echad shtei sadais or sada achas shtei b'nei adam loy. Guys, look at the line. Clearly, Rav Hamnuna is holding like Rav Dimi. 1-1 yes, 2-1, 2-1 no, and if that's no, then certainly 2-2 is no. Rav Hamnuna, I put over here, he's holding the shita. Continues the Gemara. Rav Nachman Amar, afilu adam echad shtei sadais sada achas shtei b'nei adam. Aval shtei sadais shtei b'nei adam loy. Guys, so Rav Nachman holds like Shitas Rav Elazar. Look at the chart. 1-1, not only 1-1, but even 1-2, 2-1. But 2-2, not. Rav Sheshes comes along Rav Sheshes and he says, you know what? Says Rav Sheshes, here you go, kana. So Rav Sheshes would hold like Ravin, Rav Nachman would hold like Rav Elazar, and Rav Hamnuna would hold like Rav Yochanan. It's a good chart that puts everything together for you. Right? Makes it quite easy. I like when I give myself compliments, right? I'm a Rav Sheshes. I mean a lot. How do I know 2-2 works, guys? How do I know 2-2 works? Okay, he says 2-2 works. I guess we can go with the chart now. How do we know that 2-2 works? Yes? How do we know of that opinion that it works? A lot of Tanya. Ha'omer, a person says, Tenu shekel lebini b'Shabbos. This person's dying, and he says, listen, I want you to give a weekly allowance of 1 shekel, guys, which is a half a selah. There are 2 shkolim in a selah, right? This guy says, give me a shekel, give me half a selah. For Ruyan litain selah, but he really needs a selah, means he needs 2 shkolim. Then nice and la, give it to him. Nice and la selah, give him a selah. In other words, he didn't say a lashon of his makbid. He just miscalculated how much it takes to live. He didn't take into account the inflation of Joe Biden, right? So he needs a little more money, and therefore give him the selah. Vim Amar, and if he says, Al titnu lehem el shekel, only give a shekel, meaning I'm makbid that you only give a shekel, a nice lam el shekel. All you're going to give, guys, is a shekel. That's all you're going to give. All you're going to give is a shekel. Vim Amar, and if he says, Im mesu, if he dies, yirshu acharehem, and if he dies, then other people who are not my yarshim, other people who are not my yarshim, right? Then tachtehem, bein shamatnu, bein shamalaltinu, whether he said give or don't give, he wasn't makbid, you only give a shekel. Okay, so let's go through this. We need a case, fellas, of the lashon of matana and Yerusha. We need the lashon of matana that it should make it that you're not masna mashakasa b'tayra. Good. He said, give my son, give as a matana to my son a shekel. He said, and after I die, after he dies, go ahead and give to acherim, they should be Irish. Now the acherim are not his kids. But it's not mashna custom b'tayra. Why? What's the lashon of matana? Now, he's giving ostensibly 2 things to 2 people. One to his kid and one to the Yeshu Acherim. Good? And it works. In this case, you're going to tell whether he said don't give or don't give that amount. since he was willing to give the Yerusha down the line, you see he was makbid that the kid gets exactly a shekel. Bottom line is, this is comparable to the case of shtei sadais and two people, says the Gemara. V'hahacha, because shtei sadais u'kshnei bnei adam dami, it's similar to two people and two fields. The katani dekana, and we see it's kaina. So this would be what? This would, guys, be a raya. This would be a raya to me, and a kasha on Rav Nachman and Rav Hamnuna, and on the Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar, according to Rav Dimi, right? In other words, guys, look, like kaina, this is the 2-2 column, right? This is the 2-2 column. Like kana, kana. If I bring you raya to kana, it's shver on these two people. So Rav Sheshis is coming now to say that really it's not shver. Really, it's not shver, because it's not speaking where you masla mashakasa b'tayra. What is it speaking about? The royally arshai. These acherim that he said, these are not some other people. These are what? This is people who are royally arshai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Breikahi, and it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika. In other words, we're finally going to see Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika. As long as the person's a bar Yairish, you can give it to whoever you want. As long as the person's a bar Yairish, you can give it to what? You can give it to whoever you want. So since the person is royally yarshai, these acherim are royally yarshai, therefore it helps when he says lashon of Yerusha. In other words, I could tell you 2-2 doesn't work. You're not kaina, because I can say the matana goes on one part and the Yerusha goes on another part. Why is it working over here? Because the person that you could be Irish was royally yarshai. It wasn't nichnis into the shaila that you masna mashkasa b'toira and you needed a matana. It's a clear Yerusha across the board. Even though you didn't need the lashon of matana for the other person to inherit, because the other person was royally yarshai. And you're taking it away from one and giving to the other. Why does Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika hold? As long as the other person is royally yarshai, you can do that. So Rav Sheshis has saved face for Rav Hamnuna and Rav Nachman, and Rabbi Lazar and Rav Dimi and Rabbi Yochanan. He says, I could explain that it's not similar to the case of 2-2, because it's not you're giving Matana Yerusha, it's Yerusha, and therefore what? It's not comparable. Therefore, it's not comparable. Toshma. Amar Rav Ashi Toshma. Nechasei lecha, my nechasim are to you, v'achrecha yirish plini, and after you die, so and so should inherit. The achrei achrecha, and after Ploni dies, then a third. So 3 people. You're a matana, the second one's a Yairish, and the third one's a Yairish. Yeah? So this is a case of 2 sadais and 2 people, says the Gemara. And it works. What does it say? Meis Rishon, if sequentially the ratzon of this person is Pirzais. The first guy died. Kana Sheni, Achrecha Leplaini. Meis Sheni, the second guy dies. Kana Shlishi, the third one dies. The third one gets it. So what do you see? That Shtei Sadais, Lashon Matana, Lashon Yerusha is going to work. V'meis Sheni B'chai Rishon. However, if sequentially it doesn't work, because number 2 predeceased number 1. Now, 2, the sequence was 1 gives to 2 and 2 gives to 3. But if 2 is going in the middle, if 2 is going to leave, then 1's not going to give to 3. But that's neither here nor there. For what we need, right, that understands because he wasn't Mekayim the words of the mace. But what we need for is the case number 1. Sequentially it works, but it's a case of Matana Yerusha. So 2-2. So the it's a riot to Rav Sheshes. That's what we need. Sheni, if he predeceases B'chai Rishon, Yachsu Nechasim L'Yosher Rishon, the Nechasim are all going to go to the words of the mace are off, and the Yarshim of number 1 will inherit. V'hahacha in case number 1, where sequentially it worked out, the Kishtei Sadais Ushtei B'nei Adam Dami V'Katani Dekana. Now, what are you going to say? The same teretz as before. V'chitei Mahachanami B'Royal Yarshai Rabbi Yochanan ben Breikahi Ihachi Meis Sheni Kana Shlishi. Right? If the second one dies, the third one gets it. Hashalach Rav Acha B'Reid Rav Avia L'Divrei Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika. According to the words of Rabbi Yochanan ben Breika, Nechasei Lecha V'Achrecha L'Ploini V'Rishon Royal Yarshai Ein l'sheni b'makom rishon klum. Shein ze lashon matana elo lashon Yerusha. Yerusha ein le hefsek. So, in other words, guys, this case you can't give the teretz of 1, 2, 3, and the third. These two are royally yarshai, because Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion in that case it wouldn't work. It would only stay by this guy because he also the chasim's lashon Yerusha. It would stay by him. So obviously it can't be according to Rabbi Yochanan and Braika. Okay, so once it's not Rabbi Yochanan and Braika, it must be these people not royally yarshai, and it must be number one, and yet it works. So it's a case of shtei sadais, two fields, matana, and it works. You kinda. So now we have guys in upslug. Okay, Ruthie, come on in and push it underneath. Thank you, Butch. Now we have an upslug. We have a case of 2 to 2. We have a case of 2 to 2. Over here, it's not kaina. Here it is kaina. You told me in the case of nechase lachrecha, v'akach leploni leploni, sequentially it goes, it does work. So now it's an upslug. We slugged up these two people. Guys, the hell cheshbon there? Yeah, the cheshbon. Okay, we slugged up those people based upon nechase lachrecha, v'akach ploni. Okay. So tiyufta the kula tiyufta. So this is an upshlag on Rav Dimi according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rav Hamnuna, Rav Sheish, Rav Nachman, Rav Elazar, gone. Layman the Abi tiyufta the Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish is a weird case where you said Yerusha and Matana Yerusha. The Tizbra v'Amar Rava Hilchas Hakavasi the Reish Lakish. You can't shlag up Reish Lakish. Guys, the halachas like Reish Lakish connect Rabbi Yochanan in 3 places. Right, this place. A case of chalitza of mu'beres, and whether kinyan aperis is kinyan aguftami. So Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, if not the most famous, between Rav and Shmuel and Reish Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, those are clearly the biggest machlokes amaroyim. In all of the Shas, there's only 3 places we pass like Rabbi Yochanan, like Rabbi Reish Lakish. This is one of them. So how can you shlag them up? In other words, this one case where you're going to say that it belongs to 2, how can you say shlag them up? Right, so on that. Says Gemara, I ve'amarava hilchsa gabasi Reish Lakish bahani tlas in these 3 things. Like kasha, kan b'tar kedei dibur, kan la'acha kedei dibur. It depends. It depends how it was stated. When Reish Lakish said over here that 2 people and 2 sadas you're not koina, right? When you use the lashon of Yerusha, he said it la'acha kedei dibur. He said it la'acha. It's where he said the braisu it's koina. He said tar kedei dibur. Since it's Tekadei Dibur, we'll view as one Lashon, as the Lashon of Matana. If it's the Achakadei Dibur, we'll view as the Lashon Yerusha. And therefore, you'll be Masla Mashakas B'Taira, and it won't work. The Hilchah said, Allah is Tekadei Dibur, Kol Tekadei Dibur is Kedibur Dami, Levami Avoidis Kechavim. If you say on an object, it's Avoidis Zara, and then Tekadei Dibur, you change your mind, it doesn't work. And so to Lini Kedushin, Mekadesh Elisha, in front of Eidim, and then you Tekadei Dibur, you go ahead, it doesn't work. Whatever, once you're gone, you're gone. Okay, that's the mission.